Set up here. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here this morning. I appreciate it. I want to start out this morning by talking about the last 24 hours in the legislature and what happened yesterday. Yesterday, which is historically veto day, a lot of legislation was taken up, some of which passed, majority of which passed. A couple bills did not pass, and unfortunately, I think a couple of the more critical bills did not pass. Senate Bill 191 was a bill that would have given counties and municipalities more emergency power, including the ability for us to declare public health emergencies. It would have allowed counties to enact temporary ordinances, including potentially closing businesses. That left the Senate, did not pass the House. That was very unfortunate for us as municipalities. And House Bill 1297 would have given the Secretary of Health the ability to order closures of places based on reasonable restrictions, and that also did not pass. So yesterday, our legislature had the chance to equip local government to respond to the pandemic on a local level. And unfortunately, they chose not to let us lead on the local level and take the actions we need to take in our community. And so in some ways, I feel like we are bringing a knife to a gunfight a little bit. We're being asked to lead on the local level, but without the full authority, we need to lead. So we're in a very challenging spot. I want everybody to be very clear on that and know that we are leading on the local level as best we can based on the laws that have been given to us to operate with under. If you're frustrated like I am today, and maybe you can even hear it in my voice a little bit, I need you to contact your legislators. Look at SB 191, see how they voted. If they voted nay, I need you to reach out to them and express your disappointment, because it certainly has not helped my ability to lead on the local level. I testified for over a half hour telephonically on that bill, imploring to those legislators that this temporary legislation, which had a sunset, it would have gone away in a year. We're not asking for this for forever. We just need to do this now, okay, so that we can lead locally, which is what we're being asked to do. Didn't pass. And so I'm the mayor of Sioux Falls. I can control Sioux Falls, and I'm going to continue with that fight. I'm going to keep controlling Sioux Falls. I've got emails from 3 different mayors this morning, all of which looking to me, crafting ordinances based on what we're doing in Sioux Falls, asking me questions. And that's not my job, man. I'll be honest with you. I'm the mayor of the city, okay? I'm not the mayoral alliance leader for the state, okay? But I'm finding myself in that position because other mayors are hungry for direction. They're hungry for some leadership on this issue. And so it's a role I'll play. I'm having a call at 2 o'clock with the Municipal League and what's called the Tier 1 mayors across the state for us to talk about how we respond now and what we can do on a local level based on the legal framework which we need to operate within at this time. I will also say that the South Dakota Municipal League, which represents all the municipalities across the state, was supportive of 191. The South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance, which is the legal arm for most municipalities, was supportive of this. So this wasn't just the gospel according to Paul trying to push this. There's a lot of other organizations that were backing this as well. And so the municipal partners are a little bit frustrated today, but we'll press on. Next steps for us as a city. We're continuing to work with our partners, our legal team, to determine what actions, further mitigation actions we can continue to take. I want to be very clear on this as well. We have the luxury of looking at everything in the rearview mirror right now. We're watching cities and countries and states across the world who have wished they could take a time machine back to the position we're in. So the steps we're taking right now, when there's only 100 cases, Paul, there's only 100 cases, chill out. Yeah, this is our Super Bowl right now when we have to act. That's why the lack of direction and the lack of action on some of these bills is frustrating, because the critical time is now, not when it's hit the fan and we got to really, it's like, oh, now we got to put it, it's too late. The train has left the station at that point. So City Ordinance 95.032 gives our parks director the ability to close down parks. We're going to enact that today. That's going to go into effect. We're working on that right now. What that will do is close picnic shelters, basketball courts. The rims are being taken off now, so guys, sorry for the pickup games, but the rims are all coming down. Playground equipment will be taped off. Dog parks will be closed. All our athletic fields will be closed to group gatherings and organized activities. Can you still walk through the fields? Can you still walk through a soccer field with your dog? Can you play Frisbee? Yes. Can you have an organized soccer game there? No. And that is under the authority that Don Carney, our Parks Director, has, again, under 95.032 to do that. We're also continuing to unpack the actions that were taken yesterday in Pier and determine what some of our other go-forward steps will be. That's the next step. The nice weather, I know there's some serious cabin fever. It's brought out a flurry of activity at our parks, and that's the one thing, another thing that we can do as the city to continue to throttle back social gathering and to try and flatten the curve on this thing. The bike trail will remain open for now. Okay, we're going to leave our bike trail open, just like we wanted to leave our parks open. But the social distancing measures just weren't being adhered to like we'd like to see, so we're going to throttle that back as well and close our parks. The other thing that was important yesterday is the legislature did pass a bill to move our spring elections, which includes our April 14th election here, city council and school board election. So that will be moved. More details to come on that, but we want to make sure there's a safe and honestly a trustworthy outcome to that election. And we didn't feel like we could have that at this time, so I thank the legislature for acting on that because I think that was the right move to take. So last thing I'll say is I certainly hear a lot of opinions on how we're responding, good, bad, and otherwise. You need to know that this is a we effort. You need to be reaching out to your legislators. You need to be reaching out to the state. You need to be reaching out to all the partners that are a part of this if you have opinions on how we're doing, what we can do better. Unfortunately, the ship has sailed yesterday on the veto day and some of the bills there, so there's not a lot more they can do at the legislative level. But elections have consequences, put leaders in place to make decisions. I hope we're making the right ones in the city, and we'll continue to do that with the authority that has been given to us while still protecting the legal parameters that we have to operate within. So while people will say, cities, you have the ultimate authority to close down businesses, for instance, if you want. Yeah, we could do that, but we also have to balance the legal risks with those things. So that's the role that we find ourselves in right now within the city of Sioux Falls, and we'll continue to operate within that framework going forward. So I'm going to turn it over to Jill. Jill's going to talk a little bit more about some of the parks items as well as some of our conversations we've been having with our healthcare partners this week. So, Jill.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I thought I would just underscore a couple of items of what the mayor talked about in terms of, you know, when I was last part of bringing something to you, I think it was on Friday in our press briefing, I encouraged people, you know, on Sunday to get outside, to be out getting exercise, you know, really refresh yourselves after being, you know, shut in. But unfortunately, what I asked you to do was to not be in social gatherings in the parks. And unfortunately, we've seen that. We've seen people playing basketball together and you know, socially grouping up around the playground equipment. And so unfortunately, we have to take the actions that we are right now, because this is another way that we can be spreading coronavirus, and people can be coming in contact with COVID-19. So it's not something that we enjoy doing, certainly, but it is necessary right now. And so we will be closing down all those places that the mayor indicated that are in our parks to reduce the opportunity to socially gather. Now, does that mean you shouldn't find a field at one of our parks and let your kids run and kick a ball and walk, you know, in more isolation together? No, that means you should still be taking advantage of those opportunities, but do not socially gather. Parents, you have to be monitoring your children right now. Absolutely have to be monitoring your children and making sure they are not socially gathering right now. And so I can't stress that enough, and I'll keep talking about that at these press briefings. Additionally, the mayor alluded to this, we continue to have a really strong partnership with Avera and Sanford. We are working to really try and predict the best we can when we're going to start seeing that surge, which is coming, and how that surge is going to play out, as well as what actions we need to be considering in our community to further mitigate that spread. And so it is a real partnership. We'll be working together. And the mayor talked about this, that we're looking at other communities. We're looking at other communities that are about as densely populated as us. And we're saying, when did they take certain actions? And what did that do to mitigate the spread? And so trying to say, well, how does that inform us now as to what we need to be doing? So we'll be working on that over the next time period here, and then asking of our, whether it's our Board of Health or our City Council, for continued, we'll be providing briefings to them and probably needing additional meetings in the near future here to be regarding some additional actions that we need to be taking. Those are to be determined yet. We've got a lot of information that we're going to be sorting through yet today, and then we'll be drawing some conclusions from that information. So again, I can't thank our partnership enough with our health systems and what they're doing and getting ready for. And we have to do our part as a community to make sure that when we need the care again, that it's there for us over this time period of weeks to possibly, a couple of months of when that surge will happen. So you all need to be doing your part. Thank you.
All right, any questions for Jill or I this time?
We were just asked a question about the parks. Does that mean that Falls Park is going to be being closed as well?
Don, the question is regarding, will Falls Park be closed as well? Falls Park will not be closed. There's no equipment there. People can still social distance there and act. The visitor center is already closed, but Falls Park will remain open.
People said no, restrooms are all closed, correct?
Correct.
At the parks?
Correct.
So,
Correct. Plan before you go.
In the last 3 days to a week, have there been a flurry of reports of too much social gathering that led to this decision?
Yeah. Question is, has there been reports of more social gathering at the parks? Yeah, there absolutely has, unfortunately. People who are honest people will be honest people. I mean, let's be honest. We're going to put police tape around park equipment. Can you rip it off and use the park equipment? Yes. I mean, other than building a 20-foot wall around our parks, there's going to be no great way to enforce this. But we're hoping that people see that tape as a sign that I'm not supposed to be here right now. I'm not supposed to be playing on this. So we don't want to get to the point where we have to provide enforcement measures and make it a misdemeanor, make it a crime to be on a swing. So we're asking people to just take that seriously. So yeah, there has been, and the weather's bringing that out. Yesterday was beautiful. I live right behind a park. It was packed. The equipment was packed, and that was tough for me to see, so that's why we're doing this. I want to also share that on the other side of this wall, we're doing data modeling of other similar-sized cities, as Jill alluded to, that showed their cases per capita, when they enacted certain social distancing measures, and what happened to their curves based on that. So when we talk about how are we using data to make predictive analysis and so forth, that's what we're doing. That's happening. I think that's helping drive some of our decision making as well, and making sure that we're taking smart decision making, or making smart decisions, I should say, to the fullest extent that we can.
Question from our newsroom. Governor Noem said this morning cities already have the emergency powers. You already did kind of touch on it. If you could just elaborate a little more on the closing businesses. Is the city confident in its understanding of what the powers that it currently has?
So cities have we have police powers. They're very broad. Police powers allow you to do a lot of things. The question always is, you have to weigh the legal risk of certain decisions you make with the public health risk. And so we can do a lot of things as a city. And in times like this, no one wants to make the call to do certain things. Okay? So do we have the power? Yes. Do we feel we need to exercise it and can do it in a way that avoids any legal risk both to the city or the state? That's what's foggy. That's what 191 would have really helped us with. And that's why we're frustrated that it didn't pass.
Can you elaborate more on what 191 entails and what it would have given you, given what the powers that be, the,
Well, one of the bigger things, and this is less for me as a city, but it would have given counties powers that they need. Right now, our counties are really handcuffed. So again, I've said this term kind of ad nauseum, but we have this patchwork legislation that we're doing that is different from city to county to, it's all different. I can control 80 square miles. So that's all I can control. And so by doing this and pushing this down to a local level, it really forces a lot of these cities into a spot where we're almost in an ununiform position. So 191 would have given counties that power. It would have given municipalities the ability to declare a public health emergency, which has not been done yet at the state level. I'm not sure if it will be done at the state level. That would trigger a whole new set of authorities as we see it that would allow cities and municipalities to take further action.
can you define that term so that people can understand what it means and get a general idea of what that would entail?
Well, there's declaring a state of emergency, and then there's a public health emergency. And I don't have the ordinance in front of me, the state statute in front of me that defines what a public health emergency is, but it triggers a new set of authorities that can be delegated down to us as cities. Without that, we are limited. And so it's important, that's more of a question I would say for the state, maybe the State Department of Health, and them to ask what would be a determinant or a triggering point of when we would issue a public health emergency in our state. Hasn't happened yet, so we're operating under the kind of the level below that on what our authorities are without that being declared.
Are you worried about keeping people apart on the bike trail?
You know, yes. So when you're on the bike trail, I mentioned it, you know, when I go running right now, it's just odd because I meet people and we just slowly start moving away, and then we converge when we're past each other. I'll tell you, everyone's tattling on everybody else right now. I got probably 10 emails right now of people complaining about someone was too close to me on the bike trail. So I don't know, that's probably the next thing. If people can't behave in a way that respects others' personal space right now and their social distancing, that's another step we may have to take. I don't want to take it, but sometimes our hand is being forced on the measures that we're having to take because of non-compliance.
I was gonna ask about the skateboard park, that was like.
Skateboard park. The skateboard park would also be closed. Yeah. All right, thank you. Last thing I want to do, real quick, I'm going to end on a high note. Rick was highlighted for his work he's doing to get the word out for the ASL community, which I appreciate. He's been an important partner in ensuring that our residents stay informed. And we have something in the city, we have challenge coins. They're these challenge coins that we give to people who embody the core values of our city. Our core values are safety, teamwork, innovation, character, and respect. And I want to honor Rick by giving him one of these coins for the great work he's doing to keep our citizens informed. So, Rick, and last thing, he also taught me this. Okay, it's coronavirus right there. It's COVID. So, Rick, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, appreciate it. Okay. Mike, one more question.
I asked you about the artwork. It's starting to show up everywhere. What do you think?
Yeah, the artwork's great. You know, you got to look for. I feel like we're always doom and gloom at these pressers, like, oh, this is bad, and we can't do this, and we're having to shut down parks. Anytime we can honor people doing good stuff in our community, have kids do artwork. We lit up the sky last night, which was incredible. Apparently, there's videos out there that I can't wait to see. So we got to continue to do good things to keep people excited, to keep people energized during this kind of challenging time. So the artwork's been great. I can't wait to get it all compiled. I'm going to be looking at it and giving some kids some prizes later this week. So thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
I have a question.
That's gonna be a big job.
That will be. One more question.
Is there any way that we can make a bigger deal about the artwork besides giving them prizes? Is there a way that maybe Sioux Falls could put the pictures on display?
Yeah, potentially. What I'd like to do is actually frame up a couple and have them in City Hall and leave them there in our permanent collection to remind us of this time that we're going through as a city. So some of the kids, you need to know your artwork's going to find its way into City Hall. I had Jerry Cook from Rayfields offer to frame some of the pieces, so we're going to be doing that. So don't throw it away when it's done. It may end up in City Hall. All right, thank you, guys.